We are haunted by a paranormal dogman. Dear Scary Stories NYC. Some of my family are convinced that we are no longer haunted by a very strange, upright walking canine who is either paranormal or else a hallucination, illusion, or projection of some kind. None of us have seen the beast for 5 years, and the most recent sighting before that was 7 years earlier. The later 1970s through the mid-1990s was the heyday of our supernatural dogman. I'm not officially allowed to tell you where our house is. I could get cut out of the will. I'm the only one in the family who would love to go public about the creature or apparition or whatever it is. The rest are all the type to keep a low profile and stick to the shadows with their trust funds. They don't want to become known as an eccentric werewolf-chasing Addams family. I, on the other hand, would be a lot less bored if I could write a book and do paranormal conventions and podcasts. I mean, I'm really into this sort of thing, but I'm the only one in my entire clan. So now let me tell you all the Dogman sightings and experience stories that have happened to my family, using pseudonyms where needed to protect everyone's identity. These are some of the sightings I know about, at least, the ones I can remember off the top of my head. Back in the early 1960s, just before I was born, my father saw a giant dog run past his car as he was pulling into the family driveway. He said that dog was so tall, and his head was so high, that he couldn't even see it as it galloped suddenly past. I'm including that sighting, even though the canine in it was down on all fours and not upright, and also even though there was nothing overly or apparently paranormal or supernatural about that incident. That doesn't mean it was a natural event, but it did seem as though the car pulling into the driveway had spooked the dog into running off the property. Let's fast forward to 1977 or 78. I was practicing kung fu in the back of the house, which I had been learning from a sensei that my mother was paying to teach me. My self-confidence was boosted by this, and I was feeling more in control of my life. And then, through the trees behind our property, there walked a man so large that I lost my balance in the middle of a practice kick, and I hit the ground backward hard. I remember sitting on my butt, looking over at the tallest man I'd ever seen. And as my eyes were able to take in more detail, I started to feel a different kind of unhappy than I'd ever felt before. I remember worrying and being sad, while also feeling more surprised than I'd ever felt before either. If you land on chance or community chest, and then pull a go-to-jail card, that's still a lot better than pulling a giant cryptid man walking towards you one evening card. The man thing was walking directly in line with the setting sun, as I sat there numb. I could make out his shaggy form. I could see he was limping on one of his legs, which looked like animal legs, not human ones. His head had tall ears up on top. Not as tall as a rabbit, but tall. Its two eyes glowed a bright blue in the middle of his pitch black face. People sometimes check me on the eye color, but I'm telling you, they were a sort of icy blue color, and they were blindingly bright in the middle of the completely dark face. I was not sure what I was looking at, and honestly, I still don't really know. I mean, it's the family dogman or wolfman. I'll tell you another couple stories before I'm done. We all know what this is, but nobody knows what this is. When I saw the dogman I saw, I thought it was lights out for me. I thought it was a giant predatory animal, and it was going to rip me up and eat me like so much pita bread. As strange as it looked, walking upright, standing 8 or 9 feet tall, eyes glowing like blue flashlights, I never questioned that this was a meat-eating beast, same as a bear or a mountain lion. But when this huge bipedal canine took a step toward me sitting on my butt there on the dirt, all of a sudden, I couldn't make out where he'd gone anymore. It wasn't exactly like he faded or blinked out. It was more like he stepped behind something, so that I suddenly couldn't see him any longer. The thing is, there was nothing between me and him, except air. Nothing my eyes could see, at least. What's scarier than an 8 or 9 foot tall dog-headed beast man, backlit by the setting sun? Well, not knowing where that beast man went, and wondering if he's become invisible. That gave me the shivers like I've never gotten before, and I got up, and I ran inside. In the 1980s, there were a lot of little sightings, but mostly just brief, and from a distance. Usually the creature would be seen outside by a person who was inside. Although most of these are not all that interesting to talk about individually, it did reach the point where nearly every person related to us had seen one of these dog-headed man-beasts at least once. We had some cousins staying with us one year in the late 80s, around Halloween appropriately. One of them, the oldest brother I'll call Sam, told all of us that he saw Dogman inside the house, up on the 2nd floor. He was really upset, so if he hadn't actually seen a Dogman, then something else had driven this guy over the edge. We were all downstairs and heard him screaming up on the 2nd floor before he came loudly barreling down the stairs. It was the freakiest thing. He was screaming as though someone were attacking him, but when we asked him what happened, he could barely even breathe, let alone speak. The story we eventually got out of him was that he climbed the stairs and then entered the hallway that all our bedrooms are in. He saw a huge gray wolf standing upright on its hind legs, come walking down the hallway at him. He told us he began begging the monster not to eat him, when suddenly the beast made a left turn and walked right through the wall into what would have been my sister's bedroom. Needless to say, we all went upstairs and searched the place, not finding anything even vaguely like a werewolf up there. My sister traded rooms with me after that, because I kinda liked the idea of sleeping in the path of the paranormal Dogman, at least back then. Also, I kinda thought that Sam had an overactive imagination. My mother saw the beast on 2 occasions, and she claimed that both times it was slightly translucent. That is, she could sort of see through it, as though it were Casper the Unfriendly Ghost. One time she and my father both claimed to have seen it walk out from behind some bushes, and then dart behind a different bit of foliage. The trouble was that while it was in their full view, the creature did not appear to have any legs at all. That is to say, the legs might have been invisible. They saw the top half of the beast walking as though he had legs. They just couldn't see those legs, that's all. The most recent sighting, as I said, happened around 5 years ago. We were getting a delivery one winter evening. A package delivery man was walking from his truck, parked in front of the house, around toward our front door. The wind was blowing hard enough that I remembered whistling, and it was not a night to be out in. I went to the front door to receive the box, and was quite surprised to see the man hurl that box to his right instead of delivering it to me on his left. Once he had thrown the cardboard box, I saw why. A very large Dogman was standing right there in the swirling snow. The delivery guy was already running back to his truck to make an escape, and had never even noticed that cardboard box passed right through that Dogman. And when it did so, the bipedal beast evaporated like so much smoke in the air. I stared at that box, lying on the snow and getting wet, where the Dogman had been just a moment earlier. The delivery truck drove away, leaving me in that box alone in the dark, snowy night. Well, I went down there and I tiptoed silently over to that box. I reached down to grab it, just as the wind whipped and whistled and scared the living daylights out of me. I didn't care if it was icy out. I got myself in that box back inside, in record time. So, sometimes you can see through it. Sometimes its legs are invisible. One time someone threw something right through it. I saw it fade out. My cousin saw it walk into a wall as though there were a door there. Is this Dogman a ghost? Is it a being from a parallel reality? Can it see us? Do we fade out in its view, the way it fades out in ours? Or is it a residual haunting? Just a replay stored in the location itself that plays over and over and over, like an old VHS machine set on some kind of supernatural timer? Since I can't explain to you what a Dogman is, I most certainly can't explain what a paranormal Dogman is either. So I can't predict if it's coming back. Because I was the last to see it, I believe most strongly that it will likely return. I mean, I hope I'm wrong and my family is right, but I live every day knowing that at any moment, one of us might see that creepy critter once again. And that's because I still think that to this very day, we are haunted by a paranormal Dogman. If you're looking for an EP who's got a bit of swagger, then look no further than today's Patricia Taggart. Please join me in welcoming Patricia Taggart to our channel membership club. Patricia's kind donations help keep our world spinning, and we couldn't be talking to you right now if it weren't for cool people like her. If you'd like to help us stay online and share in our perks, just listen to the deets as they are laid out by our international TV spokesmongrel, Henry Lee Dogman. Thank you. Thanks, Biggie, and thanks to all of you for watching this far. If you liked it, please click like. If you'd like to see more of our work, please subscribe. And also click that bell icon if you'd like to be notified when we put out a new episode. To become an executive producer, you can donate to us through the thanks button under each of our videos or through our paypal.me/PeterBernard209 page. To receive cool perks like secret uncensored Dogman episodes far too wild to ever run on this channel, you can become a YouTube channel member by clicking the join button, or join our PayPal subscribers club at peterbernard.com. Joining either at the $3 a month level or above gets you access to our over 25 hours of secret uncensored Dogman stories available nowhere else. Do you have a scary story about Dogman or some other kind of high strangeness that happened to you? Let us know by emailing us at scarystoriesnyc@gmail.com or by leaving us a voicemail message at 804-LA-SCARY. You may need to call back on that when it cuts off after I think 3 minutes. And if you don't want to do any of that stuff, thank you for simply watching to the end. Good night, and have a scary tomorrow.